Great atmosphere building in the south of France as John Clark waits kickoff. We await kickoff. Time now to go to your commentary team of Stuart Cummins, Barry McDermott, Terry O'Connor, and they're led by Rod Studd.
Thanks very much, Brian. Big game this for both sides. Widnes looking to close the gap on leaders St Helens. They've got a couple of games in hand on the Saints, who we saw pinch a dramatic win at the Menderhose Jungle against Castleford last night. For the Dragons, well, looking over their shoulders just a little bit, they can give themselves 4 points of breathing space at the bottom over the two cellar dwellers at the moment, the London Broncos and the Bradford Bulls, if they can pick up the points here at the Stade Gilbert Brutus. Terry and Barry alongside me. Terry, what are you expecting for this afternoon's game? It's a beautiful day and points look on the agenda in such sunny conditions.
I'm expecting it to be an expansive game. Both sides like to throw the ball around, and for Catalan, if you look at their form during the year, there's been questions put against their discipline and how they can cope with that. The last three games, as the lads talked about in the studio, they seem to have turned the form around with a very good win over Huddersfield. They lost by 6 points at Wigan, and a good performance last week against London. So let's see what happens here, Rod.
Well, the Dragons have first use of the ball, and the whistle immediately goes from James Child, our match referee this afternoon in the south of France, and the Dragons have made the first mistake.
Well, it's not the start that you want to a game. A forward pass straight from the kickoff. Your first touch as a player, you'd always want it to be a good one. And in good conditions, you can't turn the ball over cheaply like this, because 25 degrees in the south of France, it's going to be sapping energy conditions. And you look at the size of the two of them, the teams, as they go head to head in the scrum. Big set.
Well, every game these sides have clashed in Super League. All four of them have turned into tri-fest and point-a-thons. They've all had at least 60 points, and the average a staggering 70.5 points as Kevin Brown looks to get the Widnes Vikings off and running early in this game. He really has been one of the standout performers of this Super League season so far, Kevin Brown. 7 tries to his name already. John Clark in at acting halfback for the Vikings. They'll try and go through Brown almost at every opportunity. They've had to shuffle their halfback combination in the last few weeks, having lost Joe Mellor, who's been so impressive early on, with a nasty shoulder injury. That didn't help their continuity, and that's not helping either as Leon Price picks up the loose ball, and already the Dragons are off to the races down that left-hand side, and we're going to see the first try of the afternoon, are we?
Oh,
Great tackle coming back as Paddy Flynn came racing back to make a crucial stop on Morgan Escarret, who was off to the races again, looking for his 6th try of the season. Outstanding last year, and he thought he should have been the Young Player of the Year. It eventually went to Ben Crooks of Hull FC, but Escarret has really been a shining light over the last 15 to 18 months for the Catalan Dragons.
Rod, the previous 2 years, that would have been a try for Catalan, but good effort from Widnes, and especially Paddy Flynn, for getting back and preventing that try.
Well, once Escarret got the ball, as you say, you'd have made him odds-on a try-scorer down that left-hand flank. Tremendous pace, either at full-back or wing. He had the ball in his hands once more. They get it wide to Daryl Millard, and the former Wakefield man is knocked down right on the Widnes try line. Pacey start. Widnes were knocking on the door until that loose pass went to ground. Well, there's a slip in defence, and now the ball's been knocked forward and picked up by the Dragons once more, and now it spills free from Elwar Pelissier, but another 6, says James Child.
Play on, Rod.
It is. Another 6. Well, in this kind of heat, repeat sets are going to be worth their weight in goal and worth their weight in points, you would think. You just do not want to be tackling in the baking heat in the south of France. Pelissier. Well, again, it's a loose pass, and that's a knock-on this time. And I tell you what, you just wonder whether there's a little bit of sweat about and the ball is a little bit greasy. It slipped free a few times.
Yeah, and all the pressure being applied by Catalan, and Widnes have done incredibly well. As we said, a tremendous show of will and desire from Paddy Flynn to get back and deny Morgan Escarret. Bit of handbags going on. It was a mistake made by a Catalan player. Widnes celebrating, really happy with their effort defensively. And you see the captain, Oliver Alima, just saying 1 minute's work. We'll watch this break again. You do. It's reminiscent of the breaks and tries that he scored so far. He's pinned his ears back, he thinks, I've got it, and you think, does he, that split second, think, I'm here, I'm in? We'll have another look at the mistake.
Well, I'm not so sure whether there's a bit of nerves from both sides as well, and you can see from John Clark that he started the first few minutes of this game with an intent. He's not going to lie down and just let Catalan run all over the top of him. And you can see the movement, especially from Clark and from Kevin Brown, that they're trying to direct the troops. Good hit there from Elliot Whitehead.
Widnes, I think, fair to say, along with Castleford, the big improvers from last season, from Super League 18. Cats rattling a few cages at the top of the table, and Widnes with just one defeat so far. That was against the Leeds Rhinos away from home. Catalan, you'd have to say, Terry, have been the team that have regressed the most, really, over the last couple of years, haven't you? From a team that was up in the top 4 under Trent Robinson, sliding down last year, and this season, well, just above the relegation zone.
You're right, Rod, and I think there's been questions through at Catalan about the discipline, because you can't question the team that they've got on paper is absolutely excellent. Some of the times you can question their efforts when they're playing the game, but they have got skill. The coaches that they've got in Lauren Fraser, who I think that he's a very talented player, and I just think that what they need to do is make sure that they focus on the little 1%ers in the game.
Jerome Guisset, former Catalan Dragon and former Super League star over many, many years now on the coaching staff at the Dragons, getting the messages down from Lauren Fresneau. Pelissier now, who's been at hooker the last couple of weeks in the absence of Henderson. This is some good stuff from the Dragons. They've got the ball free to Cardas down this right-hand side, who didn't feature at all last year, was out in the cold, if that's possible, in the south of France, but has been back in business this year. Pelissier, very dangerous from hooker. This is going to be a try for Pomeroy. The first try of the afternoon, Ben Pomeroy, the big Australian, the former Penrith and Cronulla man. He's going to take some stopping from that range, and in the end they kept knocking on the door, and the Dragons have found the right answer.
Well, it seems like all the possession has been with this Catalan side. A very good player, while Pelissier just drops the ball inside to big Ben Pomeroy, who cuts back inside, and you can just see that there's nobody there from Widnes. Takes Rhys Hambury over to score the opening try.
Some nice skill and reaction from Pelissier. He sees the line that Pomeroy cuts, just that nice one-handed flick, wonderful skill, and Pomeroy that close to the line. A great start for the Dragons.
Well, Pelissier has had to take on the added responsibility. Ian Henderson, one of the injured absentees for the Catalan Dragons, who would be their first choice hooker. And also on the sideline at the moment, Scott Giroux, Lee Anderson. So they've got some senior men, some big hitters out on the sidelines at the moment, but Thomas Bosk is back in business. He's had his fair share of injuries over the last couple of years. Also the French international, record point scorer for the Catalan Dragons, gone through the 1,000-point barrier for the club, and he'll look to add another couple here after a very good start from the Dragons ever since that break, really, from Escarret.
And it's just broken play from Catalan. That's when they're very dangerous, because they play what's in front of them. And Pelissier, when he sees a fractured line, and sometimes you have over chases in when they're defending, and
34
I think it was Declan Hume that over chased the back of the line, and Ben Pomeroy cuts a very good line to score the try. But very dangerous when they're playing on the front foot, and that's what they've been doing for the opening 4 minutes of this game.
Well, here is Bosk, who's already nailed 13 goals this season. Yet to get his first try of the season, Thomas Bosk, in the Super League. He's not going to add to his goal tally either. That is a shocker. So Widnes dodged the extra 2 points, but they are 4 behind thanks to this try from big Ben Pomeroy.
Well, Pelissier and Elliot Whitehead were really good against Huddersfield Giants a couple of weeks ago.
10 metres.
And those two players will want to pick up where they left off. I see Scott Giroux just at the side of his coach. Maybe just giving him a few pointers on the half-backs, Bosch and Price.
Maybe the goal kicking. But it's a similar start to the one they had against the Huddersfield Giants, but the weather is anything but similar. It was a dank afternoon when they played the Giants a few weeks back, but it's very much normal service resumed with the weather in the south of France today, which will suit the Catalan Dragons down to the ground. To be fair, the league table does tell a few lies at the moment. Only 1 win, but their fixtures have been very tough. 5 of their 7 games away from home, and they've been playing the big hitters. They've been playing the likes of Saints and Wigan and the Leeds Rhinos, and with fixtures against lower-ranked teams coming up, not difficult to imagine that the Catalan Dragons will be pulling away from the relegation zone pretty soon.
And Rod, I'm just trying to watch the contribution of the 2 halfbacks on display, Kevin Brown and Danny Craven. It's the first time so far this year that partnership has been together. Good offload on Leon Price, Thomas Bosch, 5 times out of the opening 7 rounds, and including the cup match, they've been together. So you'd imagine a good bit of synergy in the Dragons' halves.
Rod willing to run the play on the last. That shows what Catalan, that's their intention today. Throw that ball around, take Widnes side to side, test them on the edges, test them through the minute, and it seemed to be when the big men are going forward, they're actually poking the nose through. So Widnes have got it all on to control that ruck speed.
Yeah, maybe showing just a sign or two of a return to the flair and confidence that we're used to seeing from the Catalan Dragons. They lost the first 5 games, but 2 wins in the last 3 games, and it could easily have been better than that. They lost to a last gasp try at Wigan, and Matt Bowen scored to break their hearts. They had led for much of the game at the DW Stadium. It was a good performance. So the last 3 weeks, the Catalan Dragons have gone pretty well, to be fair. They have improved. Millard looking to gallop clear from his own try line. Has a little bit of space. It's shut down very quickly by the Widnes Vikings. Mentioned just 1 defeat for them all season. If they do win today, they can go level on points with Cascade Tigers in the top of the table after Cascade's defeat last night. The Dragons had a couple of good results, if they're worried at all about relegation last night, with their defeats for Bradford Bulls and London Broncos, but they're not a team who should be worried about the bottom 2, Terry, are they?
Well, you wouldn't think so, not when it's playing with this urgency, and you can see that now a penalty from John Clark and the Widnes side gives more field position to Catalan, and they just seem to be playing with that much momentum, that much urgency. And as I said, their attitude today in this game is just, let's test them in every time we have a play. Let's test them, play for the play, set for set, let's just get at them.
Bosque finds the line, and Catalan will find themselves deep in Widnes territory with a full set here. They scored on their last attack. The first try of the game came inside the 6th minute. It came from Pomeroy. They're moving Widnes around here. They fancy shifting them around in this heat is the way to go, and who can argue with that?
You know, he's a good forward, Jason Viteri. He won the penalty with his late footwork. You see his agility on that occasion. Quick play of the ball, good play, and they missed him when he was not available during that knee injury period.
Olivier Elima, who's spent a spell on the sidelines with a suspension this season, looking very fresh out there. Showing and going is Thomas Bosque. This time it is read by the Vikings, but for how long are they going to hold them out here? This could be another. Is that on the line? It looks on the line to me from Elliot Whitehead. Elliot Whitehead, the former Bradford Bull, claims the try. James Child looks to go to the video referee. Stuart Cummings can give us a few thoughts.
Well, it's all about whether it's a double movement. Was it grounded short? Did he have a second movement? From what I saw, I thought perhaps he did. Momentum didn't actually carry him over on my first view. Did he move the arm? That's what the video referee, Joe Cobb, will be looking for here.
I think there is a double movement in terms of, does he leave the ground and go again? But my question is it that momentum? I believe this is a try, Stuart.
Well, that's what the video referee has to decide. Would his momentum have taken him over the line, or was there a second movement just to get him across? They're looking at the play of the ball, but this is irrelevant. We can't go back to that play of the ball to see whether he played it correctly. Seem to have gone back a couple of play of the balls.
You used to be able to do that, Stuart, didn't you? You used to be able to go back to the first set of a set of 6.
Well, I think I went back 4 play of the balls on one particular game, Wigan and St Helens, but I think that's what stopped it.
Well, they were looking for the obstruction as well. Was it Jeff Lima that goes through?
But all that's irrelevant, because it's all about what comes from this play of the ball. The video referee can't judge on that, and it's from now. So here we go. Well, there's definitely a second movement.
I'm going to change my mind, Stuart.
I think the tackle is complete here, Stuart.
I'm going to change my mind.
That's right.
I'm allowed to change my mind.
Absolutely, absolutely. Until that decision goes on the board. His arm's coming down short of the line, and then he has a second movement to take it over. Now, what we always think is it's better to have a look at these at normal speed. Now that you know that the ball does end up over the line, we've got the piece that he was tackled short. So if you have a look at it at normal speed, we can then see whether it's the momentum's taking him over.
It's very close, actually. It is short, but it's very, very close on the first time of asking, isn't it?
It is, but I just think it's short of the line on the first showing.
That's double movement for me, Stuart.
That will get my vote at the moment from what I've seen.
Well, Elliot Whitehead is looking for his 5th try of the season. He joined the Catalan Dragons last July from the Bradford Bulls, after putting in a transfer request. The beleaguered Bulls now set up home in the south of France. Has he set up a very strong position for the Catalan Dragons? Are they now 8-0 in front as opposed to the 4 they've already got from Ben Pomeroy's early try? It's down to a video refereeing decision. James Child waits. We're all waiting, James. And It is a try. It is a try.
Well, the video referee obviously feels that there's momentum that's taken him over the line there. Well, my feeling was that it was short and he had that second movement, but the decision's on the board.
Well, what do you say?
But you had a totally different view from the video ref, Barry. That's what you say. It's a good job you're not the three-man jury. It is a try. To Elliot Whitehead. It is his 5th try of the season. It comes in the 10th minute. And Whitehead joins Pomeroy on the score sheet. Bosk missed the conversion to the first try, but Widnes Vikings have got problems here. They go 2 scores behind in the first 10 minutes. It's not the script. In any condition against any opponent and any venue, it's not in the script, but particularly against a side that's now playing with a bit of confidence in hot weather on their ground, on their paddock. It's not the ideal start for the Widnes Vikings. Can Bosk add another 2 to take the Dragons into double digits? He cannot. He cannot. Well, it's been a shocking start from Bosk with the boots, as far as the Dragons are concerned.
Well, it's always going to be very difficult to stop Elliot Whitehead, who's just coming straight. He's hitting a very good line, and you can see Declan Hume and Kevin Brown, they're going sideways. You've got to make sure that you're moving forward, because the momentum will take you over that line. Well, that's what the video referee Joseph Cobb says on that occasion. But Widnes can't let that bother them, Rod. They've just got to get back on with the game.
It's his first ever game as a video ref, and he's marked it with a contentious decision.
First ever decision.
8-0 to the Catalan Dragons. The goal kicking, they've had an excellent start. Widnes, excellent start to the Super League season is under some severe threat here.
Well, this start will I'm sure, lift Catalan and just make them continue to play like that, getting the ball, freeing the ball in the offload out from Zeb Taylor, Leon Price, like we've seen him for so many years, getting him from dummy half. Was that forward?
Not according to the officials. Widnes have got their fair share of injury problems, missing the likes of Felt, Marsh, Mellor, Dave Allen. Picked up a problem in training, Arvan, Gilmore. They wouldn't have the biggest squad in the Super League, and when you have 6 or 7 players out, it becomes very, very difficult. Resources are stretched for Dennis Betts and the Vikings. Betts, incidentally, now the 2nd longest serving coach in Super League alongside Brian McDermott. He's been in the job at the Vikings since November 2010. Tony Smith, 5 years at Warrington, has the greatest longevity. It's not easy to stay in a job in Super League in coaching capacity, it seems.
Well, it's all on performances, what you do from the 80 minutes on the pitch. You've got to make sure that you come up with the 2 points. But as a professional, you've got to rise to every challenge. And I'm sure that Dennis would have warned his troops that, look, the last 3 games, they've really started to hit some form. We know what we're going to get when we go down to the south of France. We're going to get belted. We're going to get tested on the edge. You've just got to make sure you keep turning up for 80 minutes.
Brown has hoisted that very, very high. It's gone higher than it has further. It gets a lucky Widnes bounce and starts to bobble around near the Dragons' 20-metre line. It's picked up in the end by the live wire Escaré, who loves to get some space and spins out a pass to the far side to the long-striding Daryl Millard. If he can get an offloader in, there could be chances here for the Dragons. He can, but they can keep the ball moving against a tiring Widnes defence already.
And to pick up on the point that Tez makes, I think what Catalan are going to do is they're going to offload the ball. They're going to make the defenders work extra hard. Instead of it being a set of 6, with those offloads, those passes, it's going to be more like 6, 7, 8 sets of defence.
There's Jeff Lima, the former Melbourne and Wigan man. That's a loose pass. It appeared to drift forward. It's picked up by Kevin Brown anyway. It's a free play, or Brown believes it's a free play. Must have heard a call from James Child.
And that's the danger of it, Rod. If you get it wrong, then you're very quickly back on defence.
Widnes back in possession. Yeah, clear that the Dragons are going to throw this ball around. Their 2 home meetings against Widnes have resulted in a 76-6 club record win that Brian Carney was talking about pre-match, and then last year a 46-14 toweling that they handed out to the Widnes Vikings, which is 122 points they've posted on Widnes in 2 home games, the Catalan Dragons. Hambry is in there anticipating an offload that didn't come as it happened. John Clark now in there for the Vikings, very much in the veteran stage. He's almost as old as you, Terry.
Well, there's an indication of the heat Paul Clough's on now for Widnes.
On loan for the season from St Helens, Paul Clough. Millard being dragged back towards his own try line because Dean was in there with an important bit of weight added onto the tackle. This is what Widnes are going to do, put themselves about. We know at some point during the game they'll have possession and it will turn round a little bit. Field position will come their way as well. It just does at some points during games. They'll have a spell on top.
You're right, Rod, it normally does, but the initial contact from Widnes must be better. You can see getting through the line, just playing through two defenders. I'm sure that Dennis will be sending that message out to make sure you're improving that area.
Leon Price, former St Helens star, a man who's played in 9 grand finals. This time it's Escaray who puts his left boot clean through the ball. Well, I don't think Widnes knew where that was initially. You can only assume that the sun is causing a problem or two, because there was almost a potential embarrassment, a total miscommunication.
Don't want to be too hard on Paddy Flynn, but that's the second time he's let the ball bounce. He does look tired. Very hot day, very hot conditions. The Widnes players are going to be smart, going to have to be smart with their energy. Look at Paddy Flynn at the top of your screen, breathing up, breathing in the big ones.
Looked a scruffy, messy play the ball, but James Charles was happy to allow play to continue. Widnes felt that there should have been a penalty. It wasn't forthcoming. Brown now kicks from inside his 40. Will be a 40-20 if it goes. It doesn't. Escaray is back there once more. He really is quick. And I tell you what, Paddy Flynn must be quick, because he ran him down. He ran him from behind in that breakaway in the early stages. Millard is broken through again. There's problems here for Widnes. He's got Escaray inside him. Millard goes. A simple ball inside. And the flying Escaray does not need a second invitation. That's a super score for the Catalan Dragons. It's his 6th of the season. He started it and he finished it. And the Dragons go 12-0 up.
Well, Widnes are struggling on the right side. Barry's picked up that Paddy Flynn seems to be struggling. He comes in, misses the tackle. Said the initial contact from Widnes is just not good enough. Reece Hambury comes across and Danny Craven just can't get to Morgan Escaray to prevent him from scoring this try.
This is a wonderful return from Catalan.
Poor defence though, Barry.
It is, but Daryl Millard, the ball was caught virtually on the full from Morgan Escaray. He fed his winger on the other side of the pitch and has enough energy to get back in and get the support pass. This is a first-class start from Catalan Dragons. 17 and a half minutes into this game. It's all been about Catalan Dragons.
Morgan Escaray still at only 22. He had a hat-trick to his name against Widnes last year. He can play fullback or wing, we know that, but one of the most exciting young talents in Super League. There were those boys that believed he should have been the Young Player of the Year last year. It went to Ben Crooks of Hull FC, who had wonderful try-scoring exploits himself, but this boy Escaray is a very, very special talent.
He scored a try at Wigan, didn't he, a couple of weeks ago that was absolutely unbelievable. And very talented player. And what Widnes need to do, they're kicking on the third, they're kicking on the fourth. But when you kick that ball, you can't stand back and admire it, because you know that if you're kicking the ball to your opposition, you must defend. It's not all about looking pretty with the ball. Do the hard stuff.
Well, last night we saw St Helens come back from 18 points adrift against Castleford, but at this stage, Widnes' priority has got to be ensuring that this game is not over before the half-time siren sounds, because they've got to stop the try-tide somehow here, and tackling like that against the barnstorming Daryl Millard is not the way to do it.
Good composure again from the winger of the Dragons. Good conversion. As soon as they get the ball, they're looking to play, looking to use the open spaces. They're having a ball at the minute, Rod. Wonderful conditions and fabulous rugby being played as well.
Well, with the table as it is, there's still plenty of chance that Catalan, despite losing their first 5 games, could burst into the playoff places by the end of the season. And, well, the Challenge Cup is there for them as well after that win over London last week. They reached the final in 2007, famously, on one of the greatest days out in the club's history. They've been within 80 minutes of grand final also, but with a tie away at Bradford, where they will start favourites, there's possibilities there. And here's Zeb Tyre, a big strong man as well, and he takes some putting down. They are looking to offload at every opportunity.
Well, Danny Tickle trying to lift some of his teammates by coming up with a decent shot, and that does do it. If the man next to you is talking, he's communicating, he's getting off the line saying, I'm going to belt the opposition, you make sure that you follow me.
Catalan, where they are on the field is quite frankly an irrelevance in terms of their tactics, because they're offloading anywhere, whether it's inside their own 20 or near the opposition's line. Pelissier is eventually bundled over by Brown. It's a second snap, it's a penalty.
It's tough, is that, I think. The referee called play on, and when the Widnes players went back in, oh, it's a knock-on, my mistake. Pelissier showing how dangerous he is at the play of the ball, still looking to play.
You're right, it was the turnover.
Speed of the play, the ball gets you, doesn't it, Stuart?
It certainly does. Referees awarded the handover there on the last tackle. They got caught in possession. They've obviously not heard the referee call the last.
Well, Widnes get field position and possession in a handy position. This is the first time really they've had anything to shout about at this end of the field since the second minute when they turned possession over. Danny Tickle, former Hull FC man, who marquee signing for the Widnes Vikings in the off-season. Former Wigan and Halifax man. He's been playing at the highest level for 14 years now, Danny Tickle. And Cahill, all wrapped up by three Dragons, nowhere to go there, down a cul-de-sac for the Vikings. What have they got up their sleeve on this, the final play in this sequence? Kevin Brown uses the outside of his right boot and almost used the goalpost as well. But Millard, who's having an outstanding afternoon so far,
but it's not a bad,
to bring it away.
It's not a bad result, Rod. A decent kick. They get to attack, well defend, and apply some pressure. I agree with you, Tez. Defensively, put your body in front of the man. They might have to swap a little bit of control or a little bit of collision for control.
Well, they've been, as you mentioned earlier, making some steady progress over the last couple of years in Super League. The Vikings, they were bottom on their return in 2012, up to 10th last year, as they try to get back to the glory days, which are now a quarter of a century away. 1989, their famous title win over Wigan in a title decider last game, and then the World Club Challenge the same year, 1989, when they beat the Canberra Raiders. Trying to get back to those days when they really did rule the rugby league roost. As prize kicks is collected by Rhys Hambry, has been back in the side, one of their go-to guys after missing a couple of games. Key player.
It's going to be very interesting to see how Widnes go in this set of six. A couple of the forwards really struggling to get back and get set with the referee and get forward and apply any sort of pressure onto the Catalan attack. And Heb Cahill, as he always does, gets back. Unfortunately, lose the ball. Or is it a penalty?
Looks that way.
Yeah, he's given the penalty for ball stealing. So, you know, three men in the tackle and the ball came out.
A break for Widnes. They needed it. Yeah, this game was originally scheduled to be an evening kick-off, shifted to the afternoon. And Widnes really would have preferred, I think, to play in the slightly cooler of the evening. The thermometer ticking up into the high 20s Celsius.
Well, Jason Bettieri, he's the man who's apparently stripped the ball. But you say a break for Widnes, you see big Lapini Payet. He's going to be coming onto the park, and when he comes onto the field, he really does lift the tempo of the game. Also coming off the bench, Lloyd White, as we see him there. Brown on the middle of the ball, and he just dropped off. The subtlety of Kevin Brown's passing. He's got a full range, the long, the short, the delayed. That almost created the opportunity for Widnes' first points, and boy, they need some. They really need to score before the Dragons get more points on the board. They may well do here from Paddy Flynn, who is in at the corner. And that is a crucial try for the Vikings, and Paddy Flynn was in like Flynn in the corner. Well, we've seen Widnes score some fantastic tries this season, and they are very dangerous when they move the ball from one side to the other. They have players coming through, players out the back. A simple 2-on-1 with Christine, Paddy Flynn. Just keep your width, keep your shape, get the ball to the edge, and you'll score some tries.
And what Kevin Brown does, he frees up his fellow halfback, gives him a bit of time and space, and Danny Craven manages to find Rhys Hambry. Good hands, good skills, good execution, and Paddy Flynn, with a bit more energy, a bit of breath back, dabs the ball down for Widnes' first try.
And Flynn's first try of Super League 19 also. Last year he spent part of the season on dual registrations up in Cumbria playing for Workington, but back on that right wing for Widnes. And Danny Tickle, who's forged a reputation as one of the most lethal goal kickers in Super League. As you see, 22 from 26 is in the high 80s.
He's a fabulous kicker, and we've already seen Thomas Bosch missed 2 conversions. Could that prove costly? Great play from Widnes. They've absorbed all that pressure. It's cost them 14 points, but it's more about what they do now, how they respond. And I think they want to go in a positive frame of mind. They use a coaching term, knock some sets out, get to your kick, play the game at the other end of the pitch, slow the game down a little bit. The Widnes players, they will play the game at the pace they want to play it at, not the pace that Catalan Dragons want to play it, with that offloading game that's been so good for them so far.
Danny Tickle kicks goals at his own pace as well. I think he actually holds the world record for the longest time between a try being scored and the ball being kicked, something like 2.5 minutes. Let's see if he can knock this one over for what would be his 23rd goal of the Super League season. He can't. It's just off target, so his goal kicking percentage drops down to a mere 81.4. But there's the try from Paddy Flynn.
Well, I'm sure that the players will be talking about for Widnes now. We've been under a bit of pressure. We've come back with a try here from Paddy Flynn. The next set of 6 we must complete. Don't turn the ball over cheaply in our own half, because that just presents the opportunity to this Catalan side. And as we've seen from this game in the opening half hour, that when Catalan are down there, they're causing a lot of problems, and Widnes now are getting back into this game.
Approaching the 25-minute mark. I tell you what, bearing in mind what went on before that Widnes try in terms of pressure from the Dragons, opportunities and tries from the Dragons, I should say that's a pretty good result for Widnes to be only 10 points adrift, bearing in mind the battering they took in the first 20 minutes of this match, isn't it? I should think that especially, that's not bad.
Totally agree. And the tries that they've conceded, they're soft. They're the tries that will really upset Dennis Betts, and it'll upset the players as well, because they've not been defending like that this year. And whether it was the heat, whether they weren't used to that, I know that the coach Dennis Betts was saying to them today, make sure you stay out the heat, stay in the shade, and make sure you reserve that energy.
It's a lot easier running with the ball and tackling without it, that's for sure. And Widnes have had possession now after the try, and here's Phil Joseph. 7 clubs for Phil Joseph, all over the country and all over the leagues, and still rumbling on.
Well, at Widnes he seems to be fulfilling his potential up. Been very good for Widnes over the past couple of years.
Popular character, Millard. There's a few tries from the popular side for a high tackle there. They're not afraid to let the referee know what they think he should be giving. That's spilled, it's picked up by Joseph. This will be the free play. What's Brown got up his sleeve? Well, just playing the simple stuff. Hanbury looks to offload, it's gone loose. It's going to be play on. And the band played on in the south of France. Here's Danny Tickle.
Well, good defence. Good defence from Phil Joseph. He hit the ball, dislodged it, and the man who thought he wasn't playing until this afternoon is certainly having an impact. After just over 20 minutes coming on the pitch.
Yeah, Dave Allen had a problem in training, so Widnes had to shuffle. McGrath Luluai coming in and Phil Joseph coming in. There's Brown's kick early in the count. Great chance, another try to the Vikings. It was a beautiful kick, and Jack Owens has got it down. And 2 tries in a couple of minutes for the Viking Raiders. And Owens has got them back in business.
Video referee's just checking to see whether he's onside. And again, from the kick, I don't think, whoa, he's very close, isn't he? It's whether you can actually find any evidence as to where he is.
Can a try be disallowed on the balance of probability, or does it have to be a beyond reasonable doubt, to use legal jargon, Stuart?
Well, there has to be evidence on the screen for a start. There's no call come from the side, so it all depends on whether the chaser was behind the kick when he was kicked. I don't think they'll find any evidence of this.
It was wonderful vision from Brown, wasn't it? Because at that stage in the tackle count, the default position is to keep putting it through hands, but he didn't. He spotted the opportunity and took the chance.
I don't think you can disallow this. Certainly Kevin Brown kicks the ball before the line. I think the chaser, Jack Owens, just keeps his discipline, and as it pans to the wide shot, you see Jack Owens just cross over that 20-metre line. I think this is a try.
By the time the camera's got to him, Stuart, do you not think he's took 2 or 3 steps?
Oh, absolutely. There's
So
every
do you think
chance.
he's onside?
You know, being from the match officialdom, you want to see absolute proof, but I don't think we're going to get that. It doesn't look like the touch judge got in line with the kick either, so I think this will probably run through and be given as a try.
So if you were sat in the box, you had your Your finger on the button, this is a try to Widnes.
Well, I would be, because I've not seen anything to disprove it.
Well, let's see if the video ref, Joe Cobb, shares the view of Stuart Cummings, Barry McDermott, and Terry O'Connor. He does. It is a try. It is a try to Jack Owens, and that is 2 in a couple of minutes for the Vikings. What a turnaround.
Well, that seems to be the danger of the Vikings this year, and the confidence from Kevin Brown to that young man, Jack Owens. And again, it comes from holding shape. We saw the first try for Widnes on the right edge with Paddy Flynn, and the second try comes from the kick for that man, Jack Owens. So the Widnes now, they're getting a feel for this game. They're back in this competition. And can they keep it going forward?
Well, possession is 9/10 of the law, particularly in the heat of the south of France. If you can just force a couple of 2 or 3 sets in the opposition's half, I think points will be on the menu. The Dragons showed it. Virtually every attack they've had, they've set up camp in the Widnes 20, they've scored, and now Widnes, 2 raids on the Dragons line, they've scored through Paddy Flynn first of all, and then from Jack Owens, we've just seen now. Danny Tickle, who missed the first one, will look to float this one in from the left flank. And if he's successful, it will take Widnes within 4 points, which seemed unlikely when they went 14-zip behind after 17 minutes. Tickle is back on song, and the Vikings are back within an unconverted try. It's 14-10 now to the Catalan Dragons.
Well, Kevin Brown shows an awful lot of skill just to dab that ball. The very least result he was going to get was a Catalan player to pick that ball up and then be tackled by by Jack Owens. But good skill from the young man. Come through the club, come through the scholarship, as did Paddy Flynn, both try scorers, born and bred.
2 quick tries for the Vikings. 12 minutes out from half-time now. And you wonder what the Catalan Dragons must be thinking, because they were threatening to blow the Widnes Vikings back across the channel in no time at all. The tide has turned out there. It really has. White was there to find Phil Joseph. It takes some putting down Joseph. 3 of them can't get into ground. It's a stand-up, play the ball. Again, the kick comes early in the tackle count. It's clearly the tactic of the Vikings. That will go dead in goal. It'll be a 20-metre restart.
You're right. Kicking on the 4th play again from Kevin Brown. That's the leadership that you want from one of your senior players, one of your star men. And that's normally classed as a negative play. You're not so bothered there, because Widnes now can set the line. They make sure that they can communicate, try and dominate the first couple of plays in the set of 6 and slow that play the ball down.
Well, it's an interesting tactic. It's a double-edged sword, because it does turn the opposition round as a positive, but you're conceding possession early in the tackle count, so by definition you're going to have to do more tackling than the opposition, so that's the negative.
Well, it's the 4th play, and he was going for to get the ball out of the play into touch, so they still would have got the ball back. So more or less still in the same field position as well, Rod.
Dragons now over the halfway line. 3 quick tries early on. Pomeroy, Whitehead and Escarret for the Dragons. Now here's Pelissier. A wild offload. It's collected by Whitehead. Socks starting to go around his ankles. Fatigue becoming a factor. Last play.
Sorry, Rod. You need to be alert, because anytime one man's caught on the floor, Pelissier's going.
Batted back by the Dragons, picked up by Escarret, who's very dangerous in a broken field. So is Millard, who's looking for someone inside and then dabs it forward left-footed. It's loose on the floor, collected by Widnes. And it was there was a scruffy end to the set. They were trying to busk it, really, the Dragons, and they didn't come up with the right tune.
Maybe the Dragons returning set, put the ball near their opponent's line, and I just got the sense in that last set of 6 that Catalan going back, reverting to what worked for them in the first 10 minutes. Run hard, late footwork, play the ball and try and catch that late retriever, that late defender, and give Pelissier something to work with.
Looking to create a little bit of width here, the Vikings, but pretty close in the end to Declan Hume drifting into touch. Famous Widnes name, Hume, not related to the famous Hume brothers, Paul and David, from those days we mentioned earlier, back in the 80s and 90s. That's a kick that has gone straight down the throat of the most dangerous kick returner in the Dragons team, Morgan Escarret. So Tear comes in, ever present for the Dragons this season. and he doesn't mind putting his shoulder to the wheel. Pelissier, always there to direct the traffic. They're going to roll on. They really do move forward at pace impressively. This time they've managed to slow the ball down a little bit, Widnes, which will help their cause. It was Lapini-Paya who's knocked down. Whitehead spins out of a tackle and offloads once more. Pomeroy is galloping away, fancying a second. Offload towards Dupont. He's bundled into touch. Play on though. Widnes pick it up. Didn't go into touch, and now Widnes can bring it away. Tell you what, there's a good pace to the game, isn't there?
Well, there was good recovery from Kevin Brown as well then, Rod, on that occasion, because he made a decision to come out the line. He got caught out, and then all of a sudden he knew by his mistake he had to get back, and he did that and stopped the try from Catalan.
Again, it was Pomeroy going through a big hole. He scored the first try. This time got the ball away, but it was closed down ever so quickly. Very well by Kevin Brown. Showing that he's more than just a playmaker and string puller for the Widnes Vikings. A big money signing from a couple of seasons ago. Had terrible injury problems last year that really did mar his move from Huddersfield to the Vikings, but now playing some tremendous stuff. A kick forward which Esgare almost made a complete cobblers of. He's managed to collect it at about the third time of asking and run into some very heavy traffic.
Oh, he's a brilliant player, Rod. He knew exactly where he was. He knew exactly where the Widnes players were. He had to show a lot of nerve. Brilliant player from the young fullback. A little pirouette. A good bit of strength, and then that acceleration that he's famed for, carving out a real reputation for himself, young Esgare.
There's a man who's got a reputation as one of the all-time greats in Super League. It's Leon Price, and there goes Pelissier this time. Pelissier will look to offload if he possibly can and get it away. He's just shrugging off challenges. Now it's a wild offload inside. Still the Dragons, still Pomeroy. Offload again. They're running Widnes racket, but I tell you what, he was offloading without due care and attention because Widnes will pick it up.
No, just one too many there, Rod, unfortunately for the Dragons. They should have banked the fact that they'd made all that territory and just capitalised on the field position, and I think that offload was bound for the physio at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, it's as if they've got into their head that they have to offload in every tackle, at every opportunity.
Well, isn't that what makes them exciting?
Oh,
they
yeah.
expect that one of the teammates is going to be on the shoulder. Sometimes when they score tries from that, we jump up, we start applauding them. Not on that occasion, no.
Well, we've seen 5 tries already. As you mentioned earlier, there's been a bucket load of points every time these teams have met, and you can expect plenty more here. That is for certain. 76-6 the first time they played in Super League on this ground a couple of years ago, and the point count, I think, will go well past 50 this afternoon if the evidence of the first 34 minutes or so is anything to go by. Battieri knocked down. Pelissier now, as the Dragons get another set deep inside Widnes territory, and now it's spilled. And Whitehead and Busquet were not on the same wavelength.
Well, young Benjamin Garcia has come onto the pitch, number 29 for the Catalan Dragons, one of a number of young forwards. There's another one making a mistake. He had a huge game against the Huddersfield Giants a couple of weeks ago, but that's a good shot, nice and low, renowned for his defence, McGrath Luluai.
Both sides, let's keep the ropes quick on the loose call.
James Shaw trying to get the teams to pack down more quickly, but it is very warm work out there. They'll take every opportunity for every breather they can get.
Well, he's saying to the players, let's keep the rucks quick, and I'm sure the players are thinking, no, we need to slow them down.
Yeah. Well, it's been entertaining stuff. Laurent Fresinu has come down to the sideline from the stand to enjoy the final 5 minutes. He'll have enjoyed the first 15, 17 minutes or so, because that's when they scored the 3 tries to romp into a 14-0 lead, but since then Widnes have hit back.
Well, both teams can score points, and going into the last 5 minutes, I'm sure a number of the players from both sides are going to be looking at the clock saying, come on, let's get there.
To go forward, it was knocked on anyway by Owens. This will be play on here. It's picked up by Pomeroy. It's hacked on by Pomeroy. Now a foot race with Kevin Brown. They're off to the races. Brown gets there by a short head. It'll come back for the knock on. As Pomeroy realised it was the free play, and why not hack it on and see if he could beat Kevin Brown in a foot race. He should come back here for a Catalan scrum.
Well, that was a desperate shame for Widnes. Hambry over on this left side, and Declan Hume just couldn't supply the pass, and he's got every right to pick that ball up. Kevin Brown showing the effort and energy he wants his teammates to follow. I'd probably give the first half about even now, so I think the next 5 minutes are crucial. Coaches will want to get their team into the dressing room. It's going to be hot, but you want it to be in a positive mind, a positive frame of mind. I reckon honours are about even at the minute.
He saved a couple of tries, Kevin Brown, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been different class, Brown, to be honest. Everyone talks about his assists and the fact he scored 7 tries. And remember, he didn't play one of the games this season as well, so going up more than a try a game. But it's that aspect of the game that's just as crucial as scoring up the other end, isn't it?
I say it all the time. It's not just about what you do with the ball. It's what you do when you've got to defend, and getting back to save 2 tries could just keep Widnes in this game.
Price spins it out, and they look to get Escaré on the ball as often as they possibly can. And Millard now he takes some stopping, shrugs off one challenge. Can he shrug off another? They could muscle him into touch, which would be a big play. He's strong enough to stay on the field. Did well there, Daryl Millard. So looked for a moment that he was going to be bundled into touch, and Widnes would have stemmed the tide of the Dragons sweep forward once more. Close to the half-time siren, 4 minutes before the break now. The try here could prove absolutely crucial. Here's Thomas Bosk. Now it's Leon Price. Now it's Whitehead. And Whitehead gets his second of the afternoon. Elliot Whitehead running on the right flank, going over. The former Bradford ball gets his second of the day. And Elliot Whitehead has got his 6th of the season, and it could be a crucial one.
Brilliant play. A perfect execution. Enough foils, enough lies being told with the players who don't get the ball to allow time and space to the player that does get the ball. I mentioned how important Elliot Whitehead was against the Huddersfield Giants a couple of weeks ago. Daryl Millard just opened the defensive lineup of Widnes, stretched them on their left, and then scored the try on their right. Laurent Fresinu talked about the next 5 minutes being crucial. Well, it's first blood to the Catalan Dragons.
Elliot Whitehead missed the last couple of games, back from injury. Always a key player. Tell you what, as a second row forward, he scores a heck of a lot of tries. He's very adept at plucking the high kick out of the air. He scores a lot of tries from kicks, Barry, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think in the opening couple of minutes, there was a defender in the Widnes line that just lost his footing, and that almost threw Elliot Whitehead off. He's normally used to competing and getting that ball, but he's a great player.
Yeah, one of the early part of the exodus from Bradford Bulls due to the cash crisis at Bradford. Boy, what a team they could have if they had all the players they've lost in the last 18 months, Bradford, who are still propping up the pile after their defeat at home to Iestyn Harris's Salford Red Devils last evening. Now Bosk looking to make it 2 out of 4 with the boot on the afternoon. My word, he is having an absolute shocker with the boot, Thomas Bosk, and that is keeping Widnes in it.
Well, it's not his day, but you've got to give a big pat on the back to Lupini Payet. You talk about push around the ball, and he goes through. As soon as he goes through, he attracts McGrath Luluai. Kevin Brown has got a decision. Do I go in on Leon Price or stay out for that man, Elliot Whitehead? And because McGrath Luluai's gone in, it's pulled Kevin Brown inside, and the gap was outside him. Good try from Catalan.
Well, Thomas Bosk has missed 3 very makeable conversions in this match. Could have been 24-10 to the Catalan Dragons. Tickle missed one, which was very difficult.
Whoa,
could have been 24-10. It's only 18-10.
What about that run? Lupini Payet, head back, knees high, running as hard as he can. That's what you like to see from your front row from the kickoff. That psychological advantage. Now a little bit more wind in the sails of the Dragons players.
Resume normal service. It went from 14-0 up to 14-10, now 18-10, and still power to add in the final minute and 3 quarters here, because they look like they could break from deep with their offloading game. Now a penalty for a ball steal. Not the time to concede a penalty.
Well, I think they were lucky in the first place. I think there was a forward pass from Pelissier at from the ruck, and then they've got the penalty there from the ball steal, which puts them in a good position just before half-time.
This would be a savage blow if the Dragons could make it 5 tries and 2 in the final 4 minutes of the half, and Widnes with the petrol gauge flashing red now in the final 75 seconds have just got to hang on here desperately try and keep the Dragons out. It's not easy when they're offloading like this. Pelissier trying to squirm through. 3 of them knock him down. Cahill comes in last. Pelissier felt there might have been a hint of illegality about that challenge. Still got 3 tackles in the bank here. Time not really a problem then. They're going to run this set out. It's just a question of what they can put on at the end of it. Pelissier, look, Whitehead already looking for a first-half hat-trick and going very, very close to the try line. Pomeroy will come in at acting halfback. He started it all off very early on in the piece. Now Leon Price showing and then offloading. Thomas Boss comes back inside. Escalé is knocked down by 2 Widnes Vikings. Joseph and Cahill had to make the important tackle. This is the last tackle in this sequence. It'll be the last of the half, I think, as well. They'll knock it dead, and that will get them through to the half-time siren, you would think.
Well, the playmakers now for Catalan in Brosk and Leon Price. They're turning the ball back inside, making sure and just having a little look at the honesty from some of the big men. And Paddy Flynn gets back, knocks the ball out of play.
That's the young front row who puts that kick in, Tez. That's great skill from the young man.
Well, that's the half-time siren blown at the Stade Gilbert Brutus. The Dragons lead at half-time. Catalan up 18-10 over the Widnes Vikings.